My name is Natalie Abwao. I am 24. I reside in Nairobi, Kenya. And
my name is Mulei Dana.
Daisy.
I'm a student and a business lady.
I'm a master's student at the University of Nairobi.
And this is my story.
The relationship started off just like any other relationship.
I met this person in my first year of campus.
We got honeymoon stage. It was all lovey-dovey and everything. And then we got to the rocky part of it. Typically, like any other relationship, we'd argue once in a while, but we'd apologize and, life moves on.
I used to stay in the school hostels, and he used to have his own place outside of school. So I would go to his house, spend the weekends, and then one weekend became two, and then eventually I stopped staying in my hostel and I was staying in his house. Basically, I had gone there with 90% of my clothes.
I met this guy, we fell in love, he was nice, chilled.
Well, this mainly happened during the COVID-19 pandemic, where he lost his job, and due to that he started drinking more than usual, because he was a controlled drinker.
Of course, over the weekend, we party, we drink. Those who want to smoke will smoke and do whatever they want to do. And then one time, he blacked out before I did.
That's when I'd say everything drastically changed.
There was this number that just kept calling and calling and calling. So I thought it was an emergency from home. So I pick up, and this lady asks me, "Who are you and why are you picking my man's phone?" Maggie, we are 7 months deep into the relationship. So I'm asking myself, what do you mean, my man?
Whenever we were with him, for instance, in the car, he'd drive, a bit reckless. And another instance, when we were just in the house, he'd shout at me, This one time, he just pushed me against the wall. And I would say at that point, I was scared for my life.
He promised me he'd never lay his hands on me like he used to see his father did on his mother. And that is one of the reasons why I gave in and started living with him.
As I say, love is blind. He'd just come clean later on and just apologize and tell me he loves me, just buy me a gift or something. And, I'll just be like, it's a tough time. And I try to understand him, considering what he's going through.
He is my man. He is my boyfriend. So who are you and what are you asking me? So I wake him up and ask him, who is ABCD and why is she calling you past midnight and I am here with you? I don't know how, by the end of the argument, I was the one apologizing for picking up his phone when he was asleep. And by the time I was apologizing, he had already slapped me a couple of times and threatened to kick me out of the house. And since I'm scared and where he lived was not really safe, I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I won't touch your phone ever again. I won't do anything. And you'll never hear me speak about this again.
Things moved so fast. He got a nice paying job and suddenly he's changed. He started coming home late, beating me up. Nikimuliza ametoka wapi, nikimuliza why he's misusing funds, he slaps me.
Eventually, his behavior turned into a habit, because for any, I'd expect he was turning to depression, but he wasn't making any effort to just change and become a better person, Once you've lost your job, you look for another job, You try and make amends, you try and look for something else to do, But that was the end for him, And we needed life to continue. So I'd even tried talking to him and he didn't want to listen to me. And at this time, I just realized I was pregnant and I just wanted to tell him, this one particular day, I just was from the clinic and I just found out. So I decided, since he's been taking me out for a very long time, that maybe this one time, I'll step up into the relationship. as equality says. And so we went out, and he actually disappeared for a while, and I was so mad. So when he came back, we just started arguing. And in the heat of the moment, a friend of mine from work just came and said hi. But him being drunk, he just gave me a hug, and I'd say that that was the point when hell broke loose.
I was like, okay, fine. And then after that, I realized he changed his password to his phone, but still had access to mine. And he had a friend, a best friend. So anytime his best friend would call, even if it's to check on him because he's not picking his phone, it's, why is Nani calling you? Why is my friend calling you? Why can't they call me? I'm like, they tried to call you, your phone is off or you haven't picked, so, and they know I'm with you, so that's why. Again, we argued because he thought I was sleeping with this other person, and I never hung out with his friends if I was not with him. So again, I was beaten that day. Again, I said sorry.
One evening, my sister came to visit us. We were just seated with me and my sister watching a soap. Then he walks in the house. So I asked him, where are you coming from? Then he didn't even answer me. He just slapped me. And during that commotion, my sister decided to confront him and ask him why he's slapping me. He also slapped my sister.
He just got feisty and he just beat me up. But he beat me up so much so that I eventually lost the child, that he didn't know actually that we were supposed to have. So he just beat me up in the club and he just left. He beat me up and he left. I woke up in the hospital and he didn't even come to see me. He didn't show any support or anything. And I just knew that was it. That was just it.
There's a time I was sick at his house. I asked him, could you please get me meds from the chemist downstairs? Because I really can't go. He said, let me see what I can do. He left me in the house from 10, because I remember I woke up at 9:30, so he left at 10. I waited for him till 4, only to be told that he's in a pub around with another girl. So I called him, I asked him, I asked you for meds. He's like, my money is not for your medication. If you're sick, that's your cross to carry.
He tried to reach out, he called, but I think I was done. At that time I was done. My family was done, everyone was done.
Because I love him. And we can fix this. And I told my mom, I remember I told her, I can fix him.
In the country, there isn't that much, professional people that you can speak to. I tried speaking to a friend, but it only goes as far as you telling her, she's not able to help you in any other way. She'll just say, pole, and, life goes on.
Run, leave, don't stay there. You'll get yourself murdered or dead, and the people will suffer. It's your family.
I couldn't tell my mom because she had already told me, it's up to you.
You see that. You feel like this thing is just happening to you, and you're like, why is it just me?
I locked the door and he came with a knife and he tore the clothes I was wearing. He telling me, I dressed nice to go and show myself to other men. So at this point, I'm naked in front of him. He told me to get the shower, got wet, and then this man just whipped me. He was taking his Maasai sandals, and the sole is a tire, and he smacked me anywhere he could. Then he tossed me on the bed, sat on top of me, and told me, today if you leave, you'll be so lucky, because I don't know who's going to save you, because even the neighbors don't want anything to do with us. I already came to terms with the fact that that's the day I was going to die, to be honest. And I just said, in my heart, Mom, I hope you forgive me. because I've failed you and I've failed myself and I've failed him, this person who I said I could fix.
Kwa majina naitwa Isaya, mwana wa Naliaka, na nina ujumbe